Thank you, Mr Speaker. It's a pleasure to take a call in the State Sector Management Bill, and in doing so I want to start with the thoughts of what the purpose of the bill is. It's around creating financial efficiencies, effectiveness and future viability of these agencies. And we notice a little bit of a murmur and a squirmer on the other side, Mr Speaker, but that is what New Zealand voted this government in for. It voted it in to get efficiencies that needed to be applied, because all New Zealanders at this particular time are tightening their belts and working their way through what is the most difficult recession in 70 years, and they are applauding the work and the strategy of this government. What grew out of the last 9 years of a Labor government was a bloated bureaucracy with lacks of efficiency, and there was no cooperation. So we are looking at a very systematic coordination to create these efficiencies, and I applaud the government in doing that. The way they're going to achieve it is fundamentally around greater collaboration and cooperation, and in combining those functions under the Department of Internal Affairs makes good sense. So the National Library will come under the control of the Internal Affairs along with the National Archives. And Mr Speaker, that stands the test of what has been done with a number of other departments and organisations, and they are performing well. I might just take the opportunity to remind the opposition on the other side that AgriQuality and Assure were organisations that were put together under the last Labor government and are functioning very well. I just are concerned that the opposition are still thinking back in last century. We're living in a time today where there needs to be greater cooperation. We do have mechanisms in place where digital strategies and such like need to be advanced tremendously. And I just want to go back to that library strategy, the National Library. They had a digital strategy, and when there was an abundance of money sloshing around in Wellington, that digital strategy took forever to achieve. It was drawn out, it was dysfunctional and disorderly. In actual fact, it was so low on the priority list of the last government, it is quite challenging to understand the substance of the argument at the moment, Mr Speaker. So this bill is an omnibus bill, and it reminds us that really the biggest business in town is the business of the state sector. So it does need, it needs fine management. This bill will endeavour to do that, and in doing so it also addresses the urgent need to reorganise the research, science and technology sector. This government in Budget 2010 directed an enormous amount of money, new money, into that area, but it also realised that it had to restructure that fundamental structure of Morst and Forst, and to do that we need to move to a science and innovation model. And it was an absolute pleasure to have the Minister of Science, Research and Technology talk about that in Marlborough the other day when he visited Cuddins Engineering. They are an engineering firm over there that potentially will benefit enormously out of the grants and the supporting systems that the government is offering, and we see that it is very, very important that we transfer all those backroom functions, all the money that's wasted there at the moment, coordinate those functions, transfer it so it can be put into where it will make a difference, and this bill will go a long way in achieving that, Mr Speaker. So we look forward to receiving this at Select Committee. The Select submission process will be positive and constructive. We hear what the opposition says, that they are in support of the science, research, science and technology side of it. They have concerns about the combining of the functions of the archive and library under the Department of Internal Affairs. But we look forward to that opportunity to debate those things. It's a very collegial Select Committee, and I'm quite confident, Mr Speaker, that this bill will, if there is any tweaks that need to be done to it, it will come back a better bill than it is now. It's an outstanding bill, and I look forward to that opportunity to have input into it, and I commend this bill to the House.